It is excitement all round as we touch base with Gareth Edwards at the Tambo International Airport. Now, Gareth, it is now just after 8 o'clock this morning, just 1 minute after 8. The clock is ticking so slowly, cannot wait for 10 o'clock and then 10:15 and then 10:25.
Yeah, the countdown has begun, certainly has. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to what is the Terminal A arrivals at Tambo International Airport. I'm sure you're going to see on the various cameras we have here at the airport, those who've begun to arrive from early this morning as well. It's not just now the build-up is beginning. We've had people with their vuvuzelas, we've got the trumpets, we've got the SAPS band getting ready as well. I saw them rehearsing a couple of minutes ago. We even have some people on camping chairs. That's how seriously South Africa some people are taking this arrival of the Springboks. So I'll give you an update on the arrival time for them this morning. I'm taking a look at their flight coming in. It's around 10:23 is the exact time that they're going to be touching down. Obviously, we need to wait for them to come through customs. They've got to get their trophy through customs. You've got to get an entire Springbok team and all the technical support team, their coaches through as well. So you're probably expecting a bit before 11 before they make their way through the doors here at Terminal A. So if you're wondering what the time is on their flight, they're about 2 hours and 20 minutes away from touchdown. I'm afraid what's going to be a very rainy Johannesburg at the moment as well. So busy watching their flight very, very closely at the moment as well. But what I want to do is I want to just change track ever so slightly, and let's talk about the commercial element, the brand element of the Springboks. Two of them in particular, without a doubt, their brand equity is going to have gone up as well, because remember, it takes a lot of money to put a Springbok on the field. They also generate an incredible amount of income. But when you're dealing with the talents that we have in the Springbok squad, of course you've got to have organizations and professionals to help manage that for them. And I cannot imagine how exciting it is for the MD of Roc Nation. It's Mahlatse Mashua joining us this morning. And now Roc Nation is Siya Kolisi's commercial agent, and also that of the wonderful and incredibly talented Springbok wing, Cheslin Colby. Mahlatse joining us this morning. Mahlatse, good morning to you. What a pleasure to have you on eNCA this morning. First of all, congratulations. We'll talk commercialization and branding in a moment. Just take me back to your Saturday night. You must have been having a heart attack.
Good morning, Gareth. Pleasure to be talking to you. Yes, I think as a South African, I can't express how excited I am about this moment, especially because of what it represents, the joy, the hope that is palpable. But yeah, going back into Saturday night, like many South Africans, my heart stopped and started a few times. But what a joy to hear the final whistle at the end of that 80 minutes. What felt like a lifetime, actually.
It really does. I want to get your thoughts very quickly. We'll talk the branding and the commercialization in a moment. I also have to ask, when Cheslin got the yellow card, what happened? What went through your mind?
Well, look, obviously it was a nerve-wracking moment. Because he's such an exciting player. When he's on the field, one of the things that we're excited about is that he represents hope. Anything can happen. There's a sense of possibility when Cheslin is on the field. There's a sense of excitement. He's an exciting playmaker. So to have him off the field for that time was sad. However, there was this belief, because we know how hard the Springboks work, how prepared they are for moments like those. And so it was exciting to see their contingencies come into play. Obviously, they don't want that to happen, but they're world champions for a reason. They prepare for moments like that. And so I knew and had this hope and faith in the team that they would pull through.
Let's talk about that hope and that faith as well, because obviously I have to ask you about Siya, Captain Fantastic, even off the field for that yellow card as well. It was still early in the game, thankfully, so he was able to come back on. You know Siya personally. How do you think he would have handled that in his own mind? What would he have been working through as far as handling the situation is concerned?
Well, Sia has, as a leader, many responsibilities. One, obviously, he's a rugby player, so his impact is visible on the field. He's cleaning out, he's making the rucks nervous, he's carrying, he's tackling massively. His leadership, the way he's also engaging with the referee, his teammates, the way he shows up in key moments in the game to influence the momentum of the game. However, Sia being in the stadium, so he's also got responsibilities. He's also represents the sense of championing his teammates. Every time you hear him speak, you see how he backs his teammates and how he believes in them. So he gets off the field, but he's still in the stadium, and the Springboks are still playing not with Sia on the field, but with Sia in the stadium. And so there's always an impact that this man, who's an incredible person on and off the field, is making even in that 80 minutes while he's sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, and even so complimentary of the coaching staff as well. It always seems as though Sia believes it's everybody else that is doing the job and he's just there to play a supporting role, when we all know it's actually quite the opposite, Mahlatse. Okay, let's talk brand Springbok and brand Sia and brand Cheslin for a moment. I mean, if you think back to 2019, I imagine back then their brand equity would have gone through the roof. This must be the stuff of dreams for Roc Nation. How do you begin, as the organization representing Sia and Cheslin, how do you begin to measure a global brand equity like theirs?
Well, in practical terms, my phone has been ringing off the hook, to use that saying. But I think that we, as an agency, are excited that we are aligned to individuals who, just from a values perspective, are people, to look up to. They're role models, they're exciting people, and they're well-rounded athletes. And so to partner with them, at a stage in their career, of course, where they're established already, but to see how we can bring our resources to supporting them over the years, and to see how, because they're such fertile soil, they're such receptive individuals who are already on, a path of greatness on their own. And then to see also they are part of a network of others, like you mentioned, the coaching staff, you mentioned the communities, their families that support them. We're a part of that ecosystem, and to see how they grow and they become, the global appeal grows. So we are able to speak not only to local brands, but to international brands. And people just really want a piece of them. They recognize that they are local talent, but with global relevance. And that's meaningful to us as an agency in terms of equity that we can, leverage.
Yeah, I imagine your phone has been ringing off the hook ever since Saturday night when they took the final at that final whistle as well. But it goes beyond just their branding as individuals and the good work that they do. We all know the Kolisi Foundation, don't we? But when they start giving back to the world of rugby and rugby as a sport here in South Africa as well, what that sets up for you, I imagine, is a wonderful branding opportunity to showcase rugby at a grassroots level. It starts almost becoming aspirational, not just to be on television as a rugby player, but also to do good work. And I suppose you've got to bring that in to your branding and communications as well for them.
No, absolutely. Gareth, you mentioned the Kolisi Foundation. I had the privilege of being a founding CEO of the Kolisi Foundation, working under Sia and Rachel Kolisi in a very difficult time of our country. This was during the COVID-19 lockdown, the first one in 2020. And, one of the conversations I had with Sia at that time, when a lot of people, chose, especially who had the resources that he did, they chose to stay behind, stay at home and be safe. And Sia was out there. He wanted us to make things happen. He wanted to stand along South Africans, to be with South Africans during a difficult time. And I remember asking him, Sia, why don't you just send us? Why don't we go? Why didn't you stay? And his response will, forever, be etched in my mind. And it was this: Mahlatse, you can't delegate Ubuntu. It's everybody's responsibility to be a human being. And, this aligns with our brand, absolutely, to say we promote socially responsible athletes. We want them to be meaningful citizens and responsible citizens of the communities that they're part of and the communities that they came from. Sia would be the first to tell you. Cheslin would be another person who would say, I am not a self-made a man. I'm not a self-made sports person. In my journey, in my story, there are so many people, communities that were part of this incredible journey, providing resources, support, mentorship, and the like. And it's my responsibility then, therefore, to do my part, to use my platform, to use my resources, then to do the same for others.
When you start taking a look at that branding that you're talking about, that you're able to expand on, not just now with all the attention on the players themselves, on Cheslin, on Sia, but there's also, let's be honest, a commercial exercise involved here, and not just for Sia, not just for Cheslin, but I imagine for Saru and the game locally as well. You're going to want to start seeing more sponsors coming on board, potentially sponsors that might not have been involved in rugby before because it's so saturated, but right now they could want to get in and become long-term partners. There's a commercial value to the South African public as far as getting more sponsors in from a rugby sponsorship perspective, because that money then trickles down to development, to better coaching, to better colleges, etc. And hopefully we'll start seeing more Springboks coming from that. So the commercial element is something that I'm sure you're going to leverage on.
No, absolutely, Gareth, you're 100% right. Everybody loves a success story. Everybody wants to align with feel-good stories, and everybody has to think within that environment. How can we create value for everybody, not just extract value? I mean, this moment is an incredible moment. Rugby is on the spotlight. But then there are opportunities to create value for partners. So brands want their core messaging to be told to a diverse and a broad audience. They want to infiltrate new markets. They want their product offerings to be well known. And aligning with where everybody's looking at right now makes perfect sense for them. So you're right, there's certain brands that will now consider rugby as a place to be, would consider partnering with Saru, consider partnering with individual athletes who align with their core messaging. And the benefit for these athletes, the benefit for Saru, the benefit for all the rugby structures that will then partner, open up to these collaboration, of course, is that those resources then can go into the development and the improvement of the sport in this country. And I don't just think it's rugby, because I think, as you've seen, it's not only rugby fans that followed the Rugby World Cup. There are people who started watching the Rugby World Cup, rugby during the World Cup. And so you see that fans of brand South Africa themselves have come to the party. And so you'll see other sports, I think, taking a learning or two from how rugby has progressed here and how it's inspired a nation, and see how they can also partner with brands and attract, new brands.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of those brands getting on the phone with you as we get ready for the 2027 World Cup as well. Mahlatse, congratulations to you and your team over at Roc Nation. They are the agents for Sia Kolisi and also Cheslin Colby. Congratulations to the MD, Mahlatse Mashua. We're waiting for the Springboks to arrive 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. They're going to be touching down, then they'll be coming in, in through those doors behind me on the ground level, Terminal A here at OR Tambo. Tommy, as I come back to you, if you're able to get out the office, if you can sneak down here, you still got some time. We've got the SAPS band warming everybody up. We just had We Are the Champions playing in the background as well. You're going to come back to us again a little bit later. I'm going to be joined by Vato and Ngobeni. We're going to talk about that rugby development, because now it is the next plan, 2027. Tommy.